Everyone knows the name Lionel Messi. Almost nobody remembers the father who believed in him first. Before the trophies, before Barcelona, before the world knew Leo, there was Jorge Messi. In Rosario, a tiny boy began building a football dream. On fields that looked nothing like the world's biggest stadiums. Jorge wasn't a superstar himself. He was a working father who understood football and understood his son. Leo was smaller than the other kids. But with the ball at his feet, size seemed almost irrelevant. At Grandoli, the local club where he started, his talent was already impossible to ignore. But then came a problem that football alone couldn't solve. Doctors discovered that Leo had a growth hormone deficiency. The treatment was expensive, and for a working family, the cost was becoming impossible to ignore. Jorge worked in the metal industry. Every day, he was fighting two battles, providing for his family and protecting Leo's future. Jorge didn't let the diagnosis become the ending. He kept looking for a way forward. Local football could see the talent, but talent alone wasn't enough to solve the financial problem. Then Jorge started looking beyond Argentina. At 13, Leo would leave Rosario and travel across the Atlantic to try his luck in Barcelona. For a 13-year-old, it was more than a football trip. It meant leaving home. Barcelona was about to become the biggest gamble Jorge had ever taken for his son. Then the football began speaking for him. Barcelona's coaches saw something unusual, a tiny player with extraordinary control. Then came one of football's strangest pieces of history, a promise written on a napkin. On December 14, 2000, Carlos Rexach committed Barcelona to signing the young Argentine, despite doubts inside the club. The decision changed everything. The family moved to Spain, and Leo began a new life far from Rosario. The sacrifice was real. His family was divided, and homesickness became part of Leo's early Barcelona story. While the world knew almost nothing about him, Leo kept doing the one thing he understood: playing. His numbers started getting louder. Goals, assists, trophies. The boy was climbing rapidly. Eventually, the boy who once needed his father's protection was walking toward professional football. Years later, the world would know his name. But Jorge remained close behind the scenes. Jorge became more than a father. He became one of Leo's key representatives and trusted voices. Then came the trophies: league titles, European glory, individual awards, and eventually the prize Argentina wanted most. And in 2022, Messi finally lifted the World Cup. The trophy that had once seemed like the missing piece. And somewhere behind that historic victory was still the same father who had believed in the boy from Rosario. Jorge didn't score the goals. He didn't lift every trophy. But he helped create the path that made them possible.
Then, in 2026, the story reached its most painful chapter.
The world may remember Messi as a football genius. But Leo knew Jorge as something much simpler, his father.
Because every great champion has a story behind the story. And sometimes, the greatest part is the person who believed first.
Rest in peace, Jorge Messi. The world met Leo the legend, but you knew Leo the son.